Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. Rhett is out in the living room. It is 8:53 Monday morning, the 10th of August. 20 days left in the month, less than 21, so less than 3 weeks left in the month. Just finished up end-to-end testing yesterday. Oop, we don't want that one. See, tab, space and time, npm start. So we are now working on the name of this thing is make configured. This branch is 47. Make configured max view work. I remember yesterday kind of going back and forth on whether I wanted to work on Zoom or this, and I felt I kind of bounced back and forth. I finally went with going with the max regular configured view, maximum versus configured view first because that concept doesn't exist in ThreeJS. So it's not like something I have to like be as careful with, but it will still hit. Like I'll probably do a good job, I'm hoping, architecturally on this, and I won't, and I'll set the boundaries properly. And then when I go for increment decrement has to affect something that is actually part of the visualization too, which is the camera itself. But I need it to, when we're in increment decrement zooming in and out, I need to oh, and I just had a thought. Okay, I need to follow this thought. Actually, it seems like you should only be able to zoom when you're in max view. You shouldn't be able to zoom when you're in uh, regular configured view. Well, you should be able to zoom, but it shouldn't affect configured zoom. So the camera, when you're in configured mode, so we're up. And this is like sort of this is what kills projects. This is the project killer right now. And that's that everything is way more complex. We seem to be very, very good at least the people I'm around, we're very, very good at um, sort of distilling problems down to their most basic level of like the simplest terms. But then that leaves that, and that's a really great way for sort of coming to good high level decisions, but it doesn't work very well for like actually building things. It's pretty good like for consuming things, but or or like ordering things or something like that, but it's not actually very good for actually creating things. So like yeah, you probably should be able to say like, oh, I want to see 90% view, but it shouldn't affect you if you're in configured view. If you're in configured view and you change this, you should still be able to change this, but it would only manifest, I guess is the word for it. It would only manifest when we're in this view here, right? But it wouldn't. But if we're in this view, in configured view, then it shouldn't manifest. So, but you probably still should be able to change it so that when you go back, it's as zoomed in. Like you should be able to go, oh, okay, that's what it looks like. Okay, I need to zoom in a little bit more and check this out. Let me go back to regular max view. That's what I think right now. I could be wrong though. Definitely would not be the first time I was wrong about something. Okay, so, but anyways, we've already built out the whole architecture and everything of this update mode. And so the update mode, so what we want is, and this is probably the hardest part of the coding, when the coding starts, is like, okay, trying to figure out exactly what we want. So when we hit this button here, and we're in configured view as we are right now, this guy should just be like showing exactly like it's configured. And we could tell how something is configured if we go, and we cannot go directly there now. Um, so I'm just going to go like this and kind of circle back. Boom. We're going to add our visualization. We're going to go here, and now we're going to go back. And see, we have this visualization that's set up for this thing, and it's um, 200 wide, 200 tall. It's at left of zero. It's at top of zero, right? So it's there, and it's been manually placed. So that's how we want to render when we're in this view now. And if you click that you want it to be in configured view, it should render exactly as defined, as configured. So now we just got to figure out how does this thing, I'm pretty sure all this thing cares about is um, the div that it's in. So I think if we say inspect, I'm pretty sure that this surrounding div is how this determines the height. But I might be wrong. Maybe it doesn't, but it seems like yeah, this div needs to be have a width and a height set to whatever the configured width and height is, and then the canvas. So I probably actually did a lot of work to not do that. So that's probably the more natural state of it. So I don't know. Let's go to and at this point we're at like the very ground level of learning about this new thing, even though it is something I built out. I don't remember everything. So we have the app layout component. And our app layout component has an app layout viewer. So let's go to app layout viewer. And our app layout viewer, you see, has a viz width and height. I kind of had a vague memory of that. Close others. So this knows, based on the app layout service, it knows what the width and height is supposed to be. So we definitely need to fix that. And I don't know, is app viz? I think app viz, let's go find our app viz. Okay, so our app viz, everything's inside the app viz. So that's good. Um, so I think what we really want is for this app viz to be laid out as 0, 0. I mean, the width and the configured height and the width. And then we need these to have, the configured left and top. And then we need these to be the configured width and height. That's what we're trying to do. So it's starting to make a little more sense to me, anyways. But we have a service. We have this edit visualization with signal. Okay, so this is specific. See, I love the fact that I said edit visualization with signal. I wish I would have called it update visualization with signal, but edit is good enough too. I don't really like kind of swapping back and forth. We either settle on update or edit. It would have been better to do either one. But so anyway, so over here, so it looks like the only place. Okay, so it looks like it says used in two places or three places. One in what we were just looking at. Two, this is listening for this signal, edit visualization with signal. Wait, back here. Oh, okay, so actually that's a local signal. Well, no, it's not. It's in the service. And so this is sort of a new way of doing stuff. All right, so this guy right here sets the view div offset width and height. So this is actually getting the width and the height here. So I'm going to create a console log. So this is what I think is happening. And I want to validate that what I think is happening is actually happening. Okay. This is where the width and height are set. And my guess is I'm not setting the actual position ever. So I probably will have to build that from scratch. And then also, it looks like I'll probably end up needing a visualization like Zoom. And it looks like this is where right now, the published visualization right now, I don't know how this gets called. We probably only want to be publishing. We probably don't want the logic in here, but maybe we do. I don't think so though. I think we probably do. This is probably the thing that needs to figure out, are we in regular mode or are we in publish mode? But before we do that, let's just validate that it actually works the way I think it works. And I don't think we actually need anything real. Okay, so I guess so yeah, it looks like it's working the way I think it's working. I'm not 100% sure on that. Um, let's just grab this viewer width. It's gonna be funny because like the next time I look at this, I'll be like, what is this even? This number even? What even is this number? All right, so basically right now what's happening is, so let's inspect. What happens right now is that, okay, so this is where it gets the full width. So what's happening right now is this thing is just setting it to whatever the current width and height is because it's unaware of the mode. It doesn't even care about the mode. I think if maybe even if we resize, maybe it just automatically. Yeah, see. So, but really, where should the intelligence of this determining what the width is height? So this knows how to publish it, but it doesn't really know. It doesn't seem like the right place to actually say, okay, how do I determine the width and height? But the thing is that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm doing two steps here, even though it looks like one. The first step is determine the correct width and width and height. So, and we know it's ended up being we know it's going to end up being like I don't even know what I was about to say. We know it's not a const right now because we need to change it based on um, the mode that we're in. So if we're in maximize mode, so let me add that little note for max mode. And then we know that this is what we want to use. But we know that in the other view, we want to get it from the configuration, not from. And we also know we do not want this to affect the way it is viewed in the other views. So, and we do know, I believe update layout service is probably not even accessible outside of this view. All right, so everything should look exactly the same when we're done. Let's go ahead and go back to this view. Let's go ahead and add one. Update, yeah. So, and then if we look at our console log, we'll see that it's 1829 is the width that it's supposed to be. Okay, so now the question is like, okay, when we do the publish dimensions, it doesn't, well, publish visualization dimensions. Okay, so this name is a bit confusing, right? Because this really is just for edit mode. And it really is determining the visualization and publishing. So this name is incomplete. This name is incomplete. It it determines and publishes. Okay, so that is probably the first step will be to give this a better name. And then we will likely want to split it apart, which would have actually, if we were still doing unit tests, would have worked itself out. I wouldn't have to stress myself out about that now. I would have stressed out at unit test time, but now I'm not going to have unit test time. So I guess I need to take a full cycle to like step back and think through how this should break down. But um, anyways, I guess the next step will be to determine where all this is used. And good. It doesn't look like it literally is. Okay, so this passes the native element to it. So yeah, I don't know about that either. So that was kind of it's doing more. Wow, last month. Oh, I thought it said 13 months ago, but it's issue 31. Anyways, yeah, so I guess we're rolling. Happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.